attending the Sunday afternoon peaceful protest rally in Irvine. And as you can see, just a lot of great support by the locals. It's at the Irvine City Hall in front of all of that. So if you're in the area, feel free to come by from 2 to 4 o'clock. It's every Sunday afternoon. So yeah, come down. Just bring a sign if you don't have a sign. There are plenty of posters available to write whatever you want and get involved. So I hope you're enjoying your Sunday wherever you may be.
Talking about the last.
Hey, was that a camera? Good morning. How's everybody out there?
Yes, good morning.
Oh, wow. You caught us in the middle of a very tense kind of feeling. And you know, our good buddy, Mr. Marvin Harrell, again, he was walking by. I don't know what he does that early in the morning, walking by around the neighborhood. I keep my eye on him if I was you. But anyway, he showed up on the porch, so we thought we'd start a little conversation. You caught us right in the middle of it. What were you talking about, Marvin?
Well, I was walking by with a butterfly net, by the way. It was a butterfly net, and that's how they knew I wasn't a threat. Now, they did wonder about the butterfly net because there's no butterflies out right now. But I told them I was using it for caterpillars because I was going to wait for them to become butterflies. So I figured if I had that butterfly net, I could find some caterpillars.
You know,
but anyway,
that's interesting. You use butterflies because butterflies, when they fly, they're all haphazard. They're not haphazard. They're very aeronautically astute, and they're all over the place on purpose. And that reminds me of Trump. Trump is like a butterfly. You can't catch this guy. He's lying. He's got a lie for his lies. He's got some, and if that doesn't work, he just says, "What? That wasn't me."
Well, you know what? Well, his newest tactic, and I find it really frustrating, is when they ask him questions like specifically about China and the tariffs with China, and he's always now responding. He'll say, "I've had many talks," and they say, "Well, with who?" He goes, I don't want to talk about that right now. And he's done that like maybe 10 times now when he's asked questions. And they're over here, they're trying to claim that they're this open administration. This couldn't be the most closed, secretive group of people that I've ever seen. And then yesterday I was totally disgusted. I watched clips of that cabinet meeting he had. And I swear, man, the things that I'm seeing going on in front of me on these screens is blowing my mind. You know, it's
we lost your vocal. Craig, can you hear me? All right, did we lose Marvin?
I don't know.
Can you
Marvin,
hear him?
we can't hear you. And he can't hear us.
We lost you. We can't hear you. We had difficulties here, folks. Technical difficulties. Stand by. While we adjust your sound. Okay, our engineers are giving us. Oh, wait, we still have technical difficulties, folks. Ignore the images on your screen. They don't mean a thing.
Well,
there we go. We need some music.
Well, you gotta love live TV.
No, that won't work.
We'll do the filler.
The filler.
Back, Marvin.
Right. What is the filler?
Will we see you?
Filler.
You're it looks like you have your microphone off.
I like the way you look like that, but
there you are.
There you are.
it said something about the browser lost connection to the mic.
Okay.
Bad internet. I know the problem. Bad internet.
Okay. Yeah, right here where I'm at. I'm like in the mountains. No, I'm just joking. I'm in the country.
We're really country folk.
Where'd you leave? Where did I?
Well, you were talking about the cabinet meeting yesterday.
Okay,
so
the cabinet meeting,
undisclosed.
Watching that cabinet meeting actually reminded me of some strange satire. It didn't seem like real life. it was so fake. The people kissing the ring, they had, oh, you're the best administration. This is the best administration in the last 40 years, and your ratings are so high. Every fucking word coming out of their mouths were
Yaka,
lies.
yaka.
They
Did you
were
see Marco
lying.
Rubio? You see little Marco? He looks like a deer in the headlights. That boy looks so scared. Like he's afraid to say anything. He's afraid to move because he's having a test of his integrity right now. His ethics are being tested. Marco Rubio stood up promptly, even though I didn't always agree with his position politically as a conservative Republican. He stood a position that did have some integrity to it. It had some. We lost Marvin again. Marvin, you're going maybe which way. But anyway, we seen you upside down, sideways. You look
Marvin
good.
also, we should tell our viewers Marvin is also a part-time astronaut.
Did you? You can't hear you.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
They're doing something with my phone, man. My phone just all of a sudden started going, yep. That's all I could hear.
That was Trump.
No, I believe my phone and all my internet and all that shit's compromised.
I mean, that's how he sounds.
Well, I like the part of the cabinet meeting. The one who stood out for me was Pam Bondi.
Yes,
Trump.
Yes. Is she the blonde?
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yes. I mean, out of all of the professional ass kissers around that room, she was by far and away the top of the list.
That's the one that made me come up with that thought, that comment about it seeming surreal. I was either expecting her to just fucking leave her seat and go around and kiss his fucking hand or fucking do a Heil Hitler or something, because it was so sickening.
So beneath the office, so beneath her position, so beneath the dignity of our country, our democracy, our Constitution, and everything that we stand for as a community of people. Period.
Well,
we're not supposed to be kissing the ass of any leaders. Period.
Well, it was very cult-like. It was what you would think maybe a meeting with Jim Jones, and his people, his followers.
Well, in that case, then you can't blame her. It's kiss the ass or drink the Kool-Aid.
And well, it's a combination, right? On this one right now, they're kissing the ass, but they're also drinking the Kool-Aid at the same time, because they're all breaking laws, and so I'm comparing them breaking the law to drinking the Kool-Aid, because eventually they're going to have to pay consequences for what they're doing now, and I believe it's their reckoning will come, and I believe that's the drinking of the Kool-Aid. Now they're kissing the ring and drinking the Kool-Aid, man.
What amazes me the most is that despite all of the ass sucking that's going on over there, and you can just hear the smack echoing through the halls of Washington, despite that, what bothers me the most is that all this ass sucking is going on through a bunch of people unqualified, lack of experience, lack of ability, lack of integrity. And then as I think about it, I said, well, you know something? He couldn't have anything but that, because nobody else would follow him. Anybody with a rational, logical mind, any intelligent people that have the ability to understand what's really going on and make sense of all this bullshit, they're not going to follow him. So he has to have idiots following him, or people so desperate for a position that they'll do anything to acquire it. And in this case, the obvious anything is sucking up to Trump behind the money. And Musk, that piece of crap, that illegal alien in our country, he's got to go. He came here on a student visa, lied about his intent, never went to school. If he did for a short time, didn't complete it, dropped out, started working, which he was not supposed to do, overstayed the visa. That's how he got in. Oh, and speaking of that, I think Melania Trump qualifies for the same illegal alienship. She also did the same thing. She came over on a visa, violated the visa terms, working, doing stuff. And where did she meet old Trump? In the sleaze bar. That's where they met. They
Well,
met
and
in a.
and David, let's extend this to her parents coming here as well.
That's right. After they illegally she came in, and then Trump got hooked up with her. Then they brought in her parents. Now these are the same types of situations and the same identity of immigrants coming into this country that Trump's been trying to round up and throw out and say are bad for the country. His mother-in-law and father-in-law fit that. His wife fits that. All these suckers fit that. Musk fits that. So all the people that he's claiming are bad for this country are the ones that he brought in as well and that he lives with. Boom. This hypocrite.
You know, David, when you
about,
mentioned, I'm sorry.
That's all right. Go ahead.
When you mentioned Marco Rubio, that's a guy I'm so disappointed with for this reason. That you and now whenever I see him, I can't get out of my head little Marco. But with Marco Rubio, that with Mr. Abrego Garcia stuck in El Salvador, okay, under this due process. And we all know this is illegal, what is going on. And Trump with this ABC interview showing a Photoshop picture of MS-13 with the interviewer trying to debate that photo. And we'll just set that aside for conversation's sake for right now. And Rubio being defiant and not standing up for the rule of law. When he was a senator for Florida, he would never go along with this. He would defend this person's legal right and have the person brought.
Rubio was an immigrant from Cuba.
That's my point, David. And he would defend this person to come back here for the due process. Let the court and how that plays out, it plays out. But for Rubio to be acting this way is so disingenuous. And
well, it's obvious to me.
Go ahead.
I hear what you're saying, and I hear what all of us say, and I hear what a lot of people say, and we're all complaining about the same crap. We're all saying the same shit. These people are doing this, and he's doing that. Well, we know that. We know that. And I think, Marvin, earlier we were talking about what the problem really is, finding a solution to get them out. We've identified the problem. We know it's a cancer. We know it's full of worms, and they're all crawling around this ball of cancer and sucking on it and eating it. And we want to get rid of that ball of cancer and all them worms that are infesting it. So I want to quit calling the cancer disgusting and calling the worms worms. We know they are. How can we focus on the solution, getting rid of them? And Marvin, we were talking about this earlier, and one of the questions I had asked you is, what do you think? Because I know that you have that rally, you have that understanding of what it takes to go out and march and to get people together. And you and Craig have both been doing that adamantly over the past few weeks. Let's get back to that for a minute, Marvin. What would you suggest? How would you approach this?
Well, we've discussed before, it's about people power, right? Right, Craig? It's about people power. Is when the people, when the people get together, they can't be stopped. And that's what we have to show them. And we have to, I really feel that there has to be racial gaps that get bridged, because right now he's exploited the racial issues in this country, and he's using it to his advantage by keeping us separate. And when people think that their issue is more important than the other issue, then that causes the discord, right? And we keep thinking about how this other person is fucking with our lives, and some of us do, and not remembering where the source is. And people look at the source as being the other person versus who's actually instigating it.
Let me get some clarity on that for a minute, because you said something about issues, okay, competing issues. What are those issues you're?
Oh, they're vast. They're vast. I mean, can you guys hear me?
I hear you fine. David has frozen.
Oh, okay. Okay, let's see. It's something up, man. There's something going on.
Hey,
You guys keep blinking.
I don't
too.
know. We're having some
technical difficulties
today.
Maybe it's the
you
time.
gotta love life.
It could be it could be the time of day. You know what I mean? It could be.
I think it's Trump
very
messing
busy
with us.
Or very busy signals. You know, the lines. They could be really busy right now. People at work, kids at school, TV's on. You know, that because Dave's still gone.
Hey,
he's just me and you gone. Now. He's probably trying to figure out how to get back on. But anyway, I think
you'll have to call back in.
I think that,
but you know, I agree with what you're saying as far as us being out there. And what I've noticed, that being out there at the peaceful protest rallies, there's a vast array of ethnicity, and we're just out there, humanity, doing our thing, man. You know, we're just out there together, and blacks, white, Hispanic, it doesn't matter. We're there for the cause, you know?
Right.
And that's what I think is a beautiful thing, that
we
know what's on the line.
Well, to me, that's the allure, right? To me, the allure is that I'm gonna see this rainbow of faces. I really dig it. I dig being in that whole vibe, right? But on a more a smaller level, or more nuclear level, I think of the division that does exist.
Hold on for 1 second. David's calling me now. Oh, this can't be good. This can't be good. Wow. Yeah. Okay. There you are. I think you're coming in. There you are. Okay, I got you here.
Aha. So we
He's
have.
No, we lose Marvin? Oh, this is terrible.
Yeah, we love Marvin.
Oh, there we are.
That's right. We're
hey, I was just playing hide and seek. See, y'all thought I was gone, and see,
you know, for our viewers, you just have to realize, when three old guys try to do a podcast, this is what happens. Shit happens.
Well, not only that, I mean, we have you know, the internet. We have to deal with that. We don't pay for the best shit, so we just have the middle of the road.
Wait a minute. Is over 70 old?
What's that?
Old? Are we old? Over 70?
Yeah, man. Yeah, we be old. We be old.
We be old? Shit.
Yeah.
Well, look at it. You know what?
Nobody told me.
Yeah.
I'm
sorry, man. I'm sorry, man. This is a tough way to find out.
Well, I consider myself an older gentleman, right?
Wow.
And to me, that makes me feel like a little bit more comfortable with my age, right? It's like, hey, I'm an older gentleman. I made it this far, and I'm still cool. So, you know, you live that way, you won't feel old.
Oh, I don't. That's the problem. That's why I'm like, wait a minute, I'm old. Wait.
Nah.
Craig's going, you got old guys. I'm just not that astute with the technology, because I never really trusted it. And
I still don't. I mean, I trust it less.
I trust it less now than I did when it first came. Yeah, absolutely right. And ironically, my son, who's very technologically astute, I mean, he's put together whole systems and whatnot, built computers. He knows what he's doing. He, at this age of his life, is more paranoid now about the technology than he was when he was a young teenager and it was first being introduced to him. So he really trusted it. Now he doesn't at all.
Well, if you've seen Snowden,
right?
When I saw Snowden, man, that opened my eyes big time.
That'll open your eyes. That'll open your eyes. You know what? I'm so mixed about. It's interesting you bring him up because I'm so mixed about that guy. You know, the information. You look at it and you go, wow, but then you go, should he have done that? Well, whether
I don't care.
No. Listen for a minute. Let me say what I'm going to say because I'm going to present an argument for you so you can really discuss it. I look at what he did and I said, okay, the information. Wow, like I said, I'm just blown away about the information. And then I asked, but should he have disclosed it? And here's the only thing I rest on. Now we know there's the moral, ethical argument as to disclosure, non-disclosure. I get all that. But what about the argument of oath? He made a promise. He took an oath to shut the hell up, and they trusted that. Now, that's the same situation we have with our president, our current president. And he made an oath, and he's violating it. And that's what we're pissed off about with Trump and all of this Republican bullshit. All these oaths that were taken to swear to uphold the Constitution, and that's what we're angry about. And that's why Snowden is wrong. Well, I agree with the disclosure. The information was like I said, wow, I can't believe what's going on. But at the same time, that's not the point. That's not the issue. The issue is whether or not his oath was violated, and if he did, what's the punishment after swearing to it?
Well, that's why
we even do this in partnerships in business. We do it.
Okay, you got to look at it on a bigger scale than an oath.
I did.
Yeah, I mean, but I mean, but the point I mean is, he made an oath. He took an oath, but his oath was taken based upon the way he felt at the time. Hold on, let me finish. When he took the oath, okay, he felt a certain way about our government when he took that oath, right? After he took that oath, and he saw what they were doing to the people on a large millions, billions of people, a scale, right?
I understand.
So to me, it was time for a new oath.
Well, guess
he
what?
Took the oath. He stepped out of his oath, and he felt he was obligated to let us know. And I am so happy.
Guess what?
Now comparing him to Trump is totally wrong because
Trump
took an oath. Trump took an oath. Trump took an oath, but he's lying. Everything Trump is doing is hurting people. Trump is hurting people.
Absolutely wrong.
Trump is hurting people.
Nope, I totally disagree with you, and I'll tell you why. Because you just contradicted yourself. You're talking about how oaths mean something this way, but they don't mean nothing this way. No. You take an oath of marriage. You take an oath of partnership. That means something. That means honesty. Let me finish. That means honesty. That means integrity. That means you owe a duty and a responsibility to the person you took that oath to.
At that time.
Issue.
At that time.
Oh, and so, okay, so I love you today, but tomorrow, so what?
Possibly.
You're my partner today, and I'm going to do the protection, but tomorrow doesn't count?
Possibly.
I disagree with you.
You got to understand this human nature. You got to take human nature into it, Dave, and you got to take the morality aspect out.
I said all that at the beginning. I said all that at the beginning, and you messed it up. I told you that at the very beginning. I said, let's put all that to the side because I agree. The wow, remember that?
No, you just said that it was wow information.
Yeah, it was amazing. But let me tell you something.
It was stuff we need to know.
And it was information that is just incredible. But that's not my point. I put that to the side because that's true what you said, and it's horrible shit. But that's not the issue that was argued and why.
Well, I know what you're talking about.
No, wait a minute.
Let me finish. It's a moral thing.
Then if he couldn't handle it, right? What he should have done is bowed out.
And then
he should have went to his superiors and said, "I can't do this no more."
And we still wouldn't know
all this shit.
and
But
we
he
still
didn't do
wouldn't
that.
know.
He didn't do that. He committed
And we still
crimes.
wouldn't know.
You know,
We still
you and
wouldn't
I
know.
are never going to agree with this because I'll tell you about me and oaths. If I
Well,
make
I mean,
you
but-
wait a minute. No, let me say this. If I make you a promise, it's the promise. End of issue. End of issue. And if something changes on my behalf, I'm going to come to you first and I'm going to say, hey, I got a problem. This is the problem. I made you a promise, but this is coming up and bothering and messing with me. And I don't know about this promise now. And we're going to work it out. But I'm not going to sneak behind your back. And
But okay, let me
you.
ask you a question. Well, let me ask you a question. If you took an oath, right?
I'll
That
take it, maybe.
hold on, and breaking that oath, I mean not breaking that oath, or something was going to happen to someone you love, and you couldn't disclose it because you took that oath, right?
No, that's the part where
Hold
I
on,
said
let
you
me
come to
finish,
him and
Dave.
talk about it.
Dave, my turn. My turn. You took that oath, and someone you love was going to get hurt because of it. Would you break that oath in order if every step that you took it wasn't able to resolve it without breaking the oath, would you break the oath?
Okay, now, let me ask you. First of all, you changed what you just said. You keep
No, it
adding
isn't. It's
stuff.
exactly
No,
the
Marvin,
same. You interrupted me in the middle of what I was saying, so I couldn't say it in a flow that
Marvin, I'm going to ask you what you just said. You gave me two choices. Would I not do anything or would I do something?
Yeah.
Wait a minute. The do something is go to the person who you took the oath to and say, hey, if I keep this is going to cause harm. Well, Marvin, let me finish. That's not what happened with Snowden. That's not what happened, my friend.
No, I'm not. We're not talking about Snowden.
We are.
I'm talking about you.
Right. And I'm talking about oaths.
I'm talking about, but I'm talking about you and an oath. I'm talking about you and an oath. If
Marvin, you and I have a different understanding as to what an oath is.
No.
If I make a promise and I'm going to have to break that promise, I'm going to go to the person and say, hey, I can't keep this promise because it's going to cause my family harm.
But Dave, I'm saying that if any solution that you tried outside of breaking that oath, that's what I said. Any solution that you tried outside of breaking that oath didn't work, would you break the oath?
Well, but that time, of course.
Okay,
he didn't do that. But Odin didn't. Wait a minute. You keep missing the facts. You keep adding stuff. Marvin, he didn't do that.
Not anything.
Snowden didn't do that. He didn't try to resolve it. He just stole the information and disclosed it.
He was working with the information. He's the one who invented the shit.
Right, and he stole it and disclosed it.
But the point is, look what he did, though. Look how many people. Look how many people he helped. Look how many people he helped.
He didn't ask for help. He didn't go to anybody. He didn't try to go to anybody. He just disclosed it.
But look how, Dave, you think that if he would have gone to the NSA and told them that what you're doing is wrong, he wouldn't have gotten silenced? He'd have been silenced.
He might have.
He would have been.
No, he took his chances. I agree. A lot of people have taken chances and gone to their death. A lot of people have done the right thing and have been punished. That's not my point. My point is he made an oath and he should have either kept it or tried to resolve it without doing what he did. I get what he did was for the betterment of mankind and disclosing it. I said all that at the very beginning of this, and I put it to the side. But you're having trouble doing that because I'm sticking strictly to one issue and one issue only. That oath, period. And Donald Trump and him, and that is exactly the same, Marvin, because they all made oaths to abide by the Constitution, to adhere to exactly what those principles are, and they're violated without, they don't even give a shit. Didn't even give a shit.
Well, we could agree to disagree.
That's
good enough for me.
Let me put it this way. I will always keep my oath to you, brother.
Well, I mean, there's oaths that you take that are would only don't affect billions of people. I think, like when I was in the Navy, I had to take an oath to go in the Navy, right? And I served it. I did it. I did all 6 years. I was fucking top secret clearance. I had to take an oath for that shit. Everything I did, I had integrity with.
And had you violated it, what would have happened?
If I'd have got caught, I'd have gotten in trouble. But I never violated it. I never
kept your oath.
Well, because I enjoyed what I did.
I'm going to call you as my next witness.
I enjoyed what I was doing. enjoyed what I was doing, and
I know you knew what he was doing. So did he. So did Snowden.
Yeah, but see, he knew
There's
that
no
what he was doing.
There's no
But
buts.
but Dave, he knew that what he was doing was directly hurting people.
I
He
know.
knew that what he was doing.
Marvin, I get all that. I'm not arguing none of that.
I think, gentlemen, it's pretty simple. He took an oath. He broke it. He took a risk for the country.
Good or bad reason.
Let me speak, please. He took an oath. He took a big risk, and it didn't work out for him. But yeah, if I give a commitment to David, if I give a commitment to you, that's it. Now, if I go outside of that commitment and take a risk, like he did, you pay a price for that, and he paid a price for it. To me, it's cut and dried. Simple.
Yeah, and he just paid a price. He can't come back here. He can't come back here. He's stuck in Russia, and who knows how he gets treated over there. He may be living like a pauper over there. You know,
and I agree with David. The president and Snowden, they took an oath. There was no subject to. There was no like, oh my goodness, if you come upon some really incredible, there was no subject tos. An oath is an oath. I commit to David. I commit to you, like what David said, cut and dried. That's it.
Oh yeah, an oath is an oath. That's, you know, I'm not disputing that fact. You know, I know what an oath is, and I know that, but I think that there's certain situations where let me back up. I would never do anything that would hurt this country, even though this country does a lot to hurt me. I would never disclose anything that would hurt this country. And it wouldn't be even based upon an oath. It would be based upon the fact that I would hurt a lot of people, right?
Right.
And so I wouldn't do that. And so I do have a commitment, and I have commitments that I've made, you know, with my hand on the Bible and shit. And then I have commitments that are moral. And I think that sometimes it's a gray area between the two, right? But I think that if I knew that somebody I loved was going to get hurt, and I tried everything to try to help them, I would break that oath.
Me too.
And you know,
but by that time you've already exhausted it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But like you said earlier, I heard that you've exhausted all your possible moves, right? So, but I believe that an oath is sacred. You know, I believe that oaths should be stood by. I believe that it's just like a promise to somebody you care about, right? So, but it's not an oath is stronger because you make that to everyone. Right.
And you know, you brought up morality, and interestingly, I think anybody who assumes a position to take an oath has already thought about that, about the morality involved. I was a police officer for a while, and I had to take an oath to do that. Okay.
Yeah.
As well as other stuff. And the morality behind that, as I was actually doing it, I realized was being violated. And I was like, wait a minute. They're asking me to do stuff that's actually in violation of the oath. I'm not protecting and serving. I'm hunting down and abusing.
Yeah.
So, and that's an example of what you took. And so what I did, I quit doing it. I said, this ain't for me. This is wrong. And I stopped a friend who was involved with, who's also a police officer, from doing it. Help him understand how wrong it was, what he was doing. So I totally agree with you. I would not do anything that violated my morality in that sense. But I would try to find and understand that before I made that oath. Yeah. It's kind of like, here's what my dad told me one time. You find a girl you really like, you know, you want to know what she's going to look like when she's older, go look at her mother. It's kind of like getting a little advance notice of what's happening, the morality. Is this going to violate my morality and what I'm going to do? Being a police officer did mine and my ethics. No way I'm going to do that. No way I'm going to do that. You know, so I totally agree with you. And it's like people who commit crimes. The criminal oath, I love it. there's a not to segue into movies, but there's a series out there on Netflix called Warrior. If you watch, it's really well done. It's expensively well done. Sets, costumes, acting, makeup, everything, incredibly well done. It's a Western, takes place in 1883, Chinatown, San Francisco. And it mirrors exactly what's happening right now in our country with all this Trump bullshit and everything happening with the government, and how it's always bought, manipulated, how they look for someone to blame. In this case of this Warriors series, it's the Chinese. They're coming here, and there's nothing but criminals and whores, and they're going to rape our children or what. Same crap they've been talking about Mexicans forever here in this country. Well, that's what's happening right now. So I've been watching that, and every time I'm seeing these parallels constantly. Nothing changes. Nothing changes until we make it change. Till we make it change, and I think we're focusing on that. You two guys have been really active. I know, Craig, you been going out every weekend and during the week too.
Nice segue, brother. Nice segue.
How do you do that?
Huh?
So tell me about your stuff.
Hey, that was so smooth, man. With the peanut butter.
Hey, I'll tell you what, man. You do this long enough, you talk to people and you learn how to help them understand themselves. That's the point of what we're doing. Who are we? Who are you? Who's Craig? Who am I? To sit here and give our opinions out about what we think is right. We ain't nobody. But at the same time, who aren't we? Who aren't we? Well, we're not bad guys. We've tried. We give a damn. We give a damn in our communities. We've done stuff to give back. I know I have. I know Marvin has, and I know you have, Craig. We're parents. We're brothers. We're children. We're all the things that everybody else is. We care. So I'm interested how we keep it going, how you keep the fire going. I don't know. I'm 72. Marvin's 72. You just turned 70. Damn.
Kid.
How do you guys keep that in?
My phone is hot as fuck.
It's from this lively debate.
No, man, that's
a
what
lively conversation.
They said if there's other applications open in your phone, or if they're listening on your phone, it gets hot.
Hey, I'll tell you what, I wouldn't put it past them.
No, my phone just started making that sound again. And
but you mentioned earlier, David, as far as what we or people can do, and I think all three of us are doing it, and that is discussing things, getting out there and doing things, attending these rallies. They're not difficult to find. I mean, we've discussed this in other podcasts. Later today, when you were off, calling back in, I'm going to a rally later today in Newport Beach. Today, May 1st, there are rallies all across the country. I'm going to one in Newport, May Day, in Newport Beach from 5 to 7. Saturday, I'm attending one here in the Canyon from 12 to 2. And then Sunday over in, well, we lost Marvin again. So it's you and me again. This has really been wrought with a lot of technical issues, brother. Here he comes. He's back in.
We have the wrong music. There he is. We need to change our music.
And Brother Marvin's back in the house.
Man,
this is going to be an editor's nightmare later.
It's going to look like, yeah.
Then Sunday I'll be in Irvine. But you know what I'd like to see the Democrat Party do? Chuck Schumer. If I hear him say one more time, I'm going to rip my eyes out, that he's written a stern letter to somebody. Stop it. First of all, I think Schumer is grossly ineffective. I did some videos recently, and I got blasted by so many Democrats. And that's the fun thing about being an independent, that when I'm on game, I get it from MAGA and I get it from Democrats. But Schumer is past his prime. It's time for him to go and get AOC in there, Cory Booker, Hakeem get somebody else. Well, it can't be Hakeem Jeffries, but somebody else in there. But Schumer with his stern letters, that's maybe 40 years ago. Enough firm letters, stern letters. But get somebody over here in the port of Long Beach or port of Los Angeles and show no more cargo ships coming in. Get some real good visuals. Do something. I realize a little bit off on a tangent, but their messaging right now, the Democratic Party, I think is grossly ineffective. It's all over the place, and that's because I think the aged leaders, Schumer, are very ineffective. So I think the minority speaker sincerely needs to go, and that's maybe a bit off topic. But I think
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
You said you were an independent. What are they doing as a party? What are they doing to affect change? How are they being
I think sure. Well, I think folks who say myself now are very left-leaning independents that sadly voted for Trump in the last election. I'm seeing now at these rallies. I'll talk to the people and I'll ask.
No, you misunderstood my question. I know what you're doing. We're constantly talking about what you're doing. What are the independent party leaders doing, and who are they?
Well,
who are these people? This mysterious independent party. I keep hearing about it, but who are they? Where are they? Where are their faces in the camera?
Grossly ineffective, man. I mean, and you raise a point like maybe I should be, or we should be the face of the independent party, because they are like. You raised a good point. They are totally ineffective, man. I mean, they don't even have weekend barbecues.
Do they exist?
Like zero, man. I tried to reach out. I can't even find them. And so I'm going to say they do zero, less than zero, nothing on a national playing field.
I used to be in the Peace and Freedom Party, and we used to do a lot of shit, but they played it down. You never heard about it. You never heard about what we did.
Yeah.
But Peace and Freedom Party used to do a lot of shit, but you don't hear about them. They didn't try. They had their own news. They had their own paper, so they didn't try to get press. That's the only press they'd get unless they had a big rally or someone important did something. But I actually was actively involved. I didn't even know the independent. I just thought the independents were people who hadn't declared what party they were in. I didn't even know there was a freaking independent party.
Yeah. Who are they?
Yeah. Who are they? I didn't even know they existed.
Just by us having this conversation shows the ineffectiveness of their alleged leadership. So let's say whoever that hierarchy is, they just need to go, because if they're this unheard of, then bingo. So with that said, David, I think I'll do a deeper dive. I did once before a long time ago, and I couldn't find jack on them. But
let's see if we find some representative and bring them on.
I'll try to find something out on them. But let's just say they do exist. I guess they try to keep it a secret, because well, think about it, man. And now you say bring them on. I bring them on to roast them, saying, "Why in the F are you so quiet? Why did we have to Google search and Google search and Google search to find your dumb ass? Well, why in the last election? Why in the last election were you so ineffective with the party that they swung right? What the hell's wrong with you people? I would have no use for the leadership. Zero. If they were so ineffective that they allowed the party to swing right, are you kidding me? So,
well, what percentage of the elected are they?
Well, I'm going by memory, but wasn't it? I think somewhere in the low teens or something. It was enough
I
that
think
really
something
helped.
between 15 and 20%.
That's what I want to say. It was a good
Yeah.
percentage that helped swing the election for Trump between them and those Democrats that wanted to protest and not vote.
I
In the
know.
last election. Those dipshits that we're going to send them a message and not vote. Well, okay. Well, that played out real well. So thank you so much. So this is what you had in mind. I mean,
that's an interesting. Not to beat a dead horse, but every time I hear about that, it just drives me crazy because I'm certainly sensitive to racial problems in other countries and all of that. I get all that. And when I see people who want to immigrate into this country, as a whole lot of people do, they want to have part of the American dream. I love that. I think that's what this country is about, period. But be here. Be here. Don't bring your problem from over there here. What bothers me at times is when people come here and the place they left because they didn't like it. So they come here and the first thing they want to do is bring those problems. And that's what happened in part of this election. The Palestinian cause, it's horrible what's going on in the Gaza Strip. I absolutely deplore both sides as to what's going on there right now, period. But nonetheless, that has nothing to do with our elections. And to have that problem brought over here and made part of our elections, that bothers the shit out of me. A lot of people will say, well, wait a minute. It does because we supply the war machine and we do all, I get all that. But they didn't vote for Kamala, that group of people, because of that going on there. And Kamala, the most qualified candidate across the board, education, experience, everything.
Yeah.
And she didn't lose by a major majority, a small percentage. Small percentage. When you put in the 30, I think it was like 31% of those that didn't vote, and the 32% Butthead got, and the 31.8% that Kamala got, you get the pie. But the problem wasn't that she wasn't qualified. It's as you've already identified, those sit-outs, those in protest. You're protesting and disrupting our elections behind some shit that your people started over in Israel. You started a war. You knew you were starting a war with a big dog, and you've been biting the shit out of you since. And now you want everybody to be sympathetic. Well, we are. The bombing of those children and all those people are bad. The adults, I hold them all responsible. They let those people come in. They let Hamas and all those people rule them. End of issue. I don't know what to say about that. That religious problem they have goes back thousands of years already. Get over it. Both sides. And that has nothing to do with me. That has nothing to do with our elections. And that really bothered me, that people will come here and do that. You want to be an American, be an American. Come on down. But be an American. I'm sick of everybody identifying themselves as something other than American. And I've said this often, and I'll say it till I die. I am not a Mexican American. I wasn't born in Mexico. I'm an American, period. I have a various ethnic background, which includes Indio, Spanish.
Well, David, sorry to interrupt you. We all have a various background. I haven't done one of those DNA test things, and if I did, I'd probably be shocked. I may have black in me. I may say, "Holy cow, we probably all have black in us."
Everybody does in the world. That's what people don't get. So everybody was ever born.
So we're all Americans, and that's that.
Amen. That's that. So come here, be an American.
One thing though, you get a good takeaway from that whole thing with the Palestinians and all the other different ethnicities, the brothers that voted for Trump and the Mexicans that voted for Trump and the poor folks that voted for Trump. That's going to help in the upcoming midterms. And I believe that they're going to lose votes because of what Trump is doing now, and these people are going to vote the opposite way. So they fucked up and got him in office. Well, hopefully we can keep more of his ilk from coming into office, and the ones that are in there that are like him, we can get rid of them. And I think that if we start, you even embrace those communities when you're asking what we could do. We talk to the people, the Palestinians. We talk to the brothers that voted for Trump. We talk to the people, like you said a couple of podcasts ago, Dave. We talk to the enemy and try to get the enemy to become our friend. And that's what one of the most important things to do. And I use the term enemy, not in a negative way. Those with the opposing mindset, right? And we
one
try
of the
to
tenets of Islam, and I love this, is not to defeat that person who's opposed to you by violence, but by conversion, but by helping them to see their light, helping them to see the truth. And I don't necessarily agree, and you know this about me, Marvin. I'm not a religious guy. I don't believe in anybody's religion, really. I believe in God and end of issue. But my point being, I still love that tenet about Islam, that the best way to help the enemy, the opposition, the person who's opposed to you, is not to kill them, but to help them see the light, to talk to them, to reach out to them. And I love that. I think you're dead on right, Marvin. That's what we need to do. So the Republicans that are out there that were unfortunately lied to, cheated, defrauded, broken promises, that's not your fault. You believed him. That's not your fault. Many of us, all of us, me, every one of us in this planet have believed some falsehoods in our lifetime, promises made or things that were just straight up lies. That's not your fault. The second time around, it might be, but the first time it's not. Hey.
Well, and I think one of the steps to dealing and communicating with folks that are of opposing mindsets is to try to just, because logic doesn't work. Logic eludes them. I think you try to put it to how their lives are now versus how they were in before, right? You and then I don't even think you can say to them, like, do you think it's okay what's going on with the people being deported? Because they're going to be all for that shit, right? So you have to talk to them about something that's close to home, about their kids or their schools or their grocery prices, gas prices. Those are the types of things, the conversations you got to have. Because if you try to get political with them, they're going to say Soros, they're going to say Hillary, they're going to say Bill, they're going to say Obama. And they got these talking points, the all the different bullshit, right? But you try to keep it local for them, keep it in their local mind, how it's affecting them locally. And that's, I think, one of the easiest ways to organize those folks.
Here's a question I heard for everybody to ask themselves. Before you go to sleep at night, do you worry? Are you worrying before you go to sleep? Can you go to sleep without worrying? Just ask yourself that one simple question. When you go to sleep, you lay down on that pillow, are you worried?
Make it two questions. When you go to sleep, are you worrying? And when you wake up, are you worrying? Because one of the things that goes through my mind, I swear, within maybe a half hour after I wake up, what did that dude do stupid last night? And it actually started with George H.W. Bush. It started with the younger Bush, because he was doing some really, really asinine shit. And so I thought that he was the worst, but no,
he was just dumb.
No, Trump wanted to one up him.
Yeah, but Bush was like a big sheepdog, just jump around and he didn't mean any harm, but he didn't know he was pooping all over the place and stuff.
Trump making him look like a genius.
Oh yeah. Hey, on that note, speaking of geniuses, we probably should say goodbye. We're working on overtime here, but it was worth it. We love you, folks. Yes. Please tune in to us again. And if you have any questions or concerns or comments, criticisms, we welcome all of it.
And if you want to come on and ramble with us, come on and ramble with us. If you want to come on and rumble with us, we'll rumble with you too.
That's right. See you again on Porch Talk. Peace.
Peace.